Welcome back to the Animal Notebook channel. I'm absolutely thrilled to have you here for today's explainer, because honestly, we're looking at an animal that feels a lot more like science fiction than biological reality. We're talking about the giant squid, the deep sea titan. So grab your notebooks, because we're diving straight into the ocean's darkest zones to uncover the real facts about a creature that has literally captivated human imagination for centuries.
Think about it. For hundreds of years, maritime folklore has been absolutely full of these terrifying, island-sized monsters just dragging entire ships and unfortunate sailors down to the murky depths. You've got the Scandinavian legends of the dreadful Kraken, but here's the fascinating truth. While the whole ship-sinking monster thing is a total myth, the creature that actually inspired it is very, very real. And as you'll see, the actual science of this animal is way more astonishing than the sailor stories ever were.
Okay, let's dive into this. Meet Architeuthis ducks, the true titan of the deep. This is a massive, highly elusive predator that lives its entire life hidden away in the crushing darkness of the world's oceans. And it's wild when you think about it, right? Despite all our modern technology, right, our satellites, our submarines, our advanced deep-sea mapping, we've explored only a tiny, tiny fraction of the deep sea. And the giant squid? It remains one of Earth's absolute greatest biological mysteries.
Section 1. From Myth to Reality. To really appreciate this creature, we have to look at how it went from being just a ghost in a sailor's tale to an actual, documented scientific specimen. And it took a surprisingly long time for us to get a good look at them. Despite centuries of rumors, it wasn't until 1857 that a Danish zoologist officially described the genus Architeuthis. And get this, he didn't even have a full squid to work with. He literally just had a beak that was found inside a sperm whale's stomach. From there, mostly dead carcasses washing ashore provided our only clues. It actually took until the year 2004 for Japanese researchers to capture the very first photographs of a living giant squid in its natural habitat. And remarkably, it wasn't until 2012 that we finally got video footage of a live one. Just think about that for a second. We managed to invent cryptocurrency and build mega skyscrapers before we ever caught this animal on film.
Section 2. Anatomy of a titan. Now that we finally have some hard scientific data, we can map out exactly what makes them so formidable. Like all cephalopods, the giant squid features a large mantle, which is basically its torso, and a head. Branching off from there, they're equipped with this powerful, parrot-like chitinous beak right in the center of their arms. They have 8 standard arms and 2 extraordinarily long feeding tentacles that they use to snatch prey from a distance. And every single one of those arms and tentacles completely covered in powerful suckers. But their most famous attribute is for sure their absolutely immense size. The females, who by the way are actually significantly larger than the males, reach up to roughly 13 meters or 43 feet. To put that into perspective for you, if you laid a giant squid out on the street, it would be roughly the length of a standard yellow school bus. And they can weigh upwards of 610 pounds.
Their eyes are another totally astounding feature. At up to 27 centimeters, that's about 10.6 inches in diameter, the giant squid has the largest eyes of any known living animal. They are literally the size of dinner plates. In the pitch-black depths of the ocean, evolution clearly decided subtlety was out the window. These massive eyes are perfectly adapted to detect the absolute faintest traces of blue bioluminescent light, which is exactly how they spot predators moving in the dark.
But the eyes are just the beginning of the weirdness here. Their internal biology is mind-blowing. Okay, first up, they have blue blood. Yeah, instead of iron-based hemoglobin like us, they use a copper-based hemocyanin. Second, they have 3 hearts, 2 just to pump blood to the gills, and 1 for the rest of the body. Third, they literally have a donut-shaped brain. And here's the absolute kicker. Their esophagus passes straight through the center of that brain donut, which means if they swallow a piece of food that's too large, they can actually give themselves brain damage. And finally, instead of a gas-filled swim bladder to float like most fish, their tissues are completely saturated with a fluid rich in ammonium chloride.
Section 3. Life in the Abyss.
So, where exactly does an animal with blue blood and a donut brain actually live? Well, they have a global distribution. They're found in all the world's major oceans, from the North Atlantic all the way to the Pacific, generally inhabiting the mesopelagic and bathypelagic zones. Basically, this means they're hanging out between 300 and 1,000 meters, or roughly 1,000 to over 3,000 feet below the surface. They completely avoid shallow waters, strongly preferring the freezing, crushing, high-pressure darkness far, far away from humans. But despite their massive 43-foot size, their lifespan is a shocking contrast. Scientists studying the growth rings in their statoliths, which are these tiny little balance organs in their heads, estimate that giant squids only live for a fleeting 3 to 5 years. Think about that. To reach the length of a school bus in that time, their growth rate has to be incredibly, explosively fast. They grow rapidly, reproduce once, and then they die.
Section 4. The ultimate deep-sea rivalry.
Now you might think a creature this large has absolutely nothing to fear, right? But the dark ocean is unforgiving. The sperm whale is actually the giant squid's primary natural predator. It's a true clash of the titans. On one side, you have the massive sperm whale, holding its breath to dive incredibly deep into the abyss, using advanced echolocation to hunt. On the other side, you've got the giant squid, using its dinner plate eyes to detect the faint bioluminescent glow of organisms disturbed by the whale's approach, desperately trying to flee or fighting back with everything it has using its long tentacles and arms.
Because we rarely, if ever, see these battles happen in real time, you might be wondering, how do we even know they happen? Well, the evidence is written right on the whales themselves. Scientists constantly observe sperm whales covered in these huge circular scars. Those scars come directly from the sharp, serrated chitinous rings inside the giant squid's suckers, cutting into the whale's skin during a desperate struggle. Furthermore, the hard parrot-like beaks of the squid just can't be digested, so they're found in massive quantities inside whale stomachs. In fact, it's estimated that for every ton of sperm whale biomass, they consume about 100 kilograms of squids daily. That is a staggering amount of squid.
Section 5. Giant Squid FAQs.
We've covered a lot of deep-sea ground in today's explainer, so to wrap things up, we're going to hit the 4 most frequently asked questions we get about the giant squid. FAQ number 1. Can a giant squid actually sink a ship like the mythical Kraken? The answer is a definitive no. While they are massive, there is absolutely zero verified evidence of a giant squid ever attacking, let alone sinking, a human vessel. They actively avoid shallow surface waters, so an encounter with a boat is highly unlikely to begin with, and frankly, they simply don't possess the mass or the motivation to pull down a ship.
FAQ number 2. Are giant squids good to eat? Believe it or not, they would taste absolutely terrible to us. Remember that buoyancy trick we talked about earlier? Because their body tissues are completely saturated with ammonium chloride so they can float without a swim bladder, their flesh is incredibly bitter and foul-tasting. Basically, they taste like ammonia. Luckily for the squid, this makes them highly unpalatable to most predators, except, of course, the sperm whale, who apparently doesn't mind the taste.
FAQ number 3. How do they catch their food? Giant squids are thought to be ambush predators, feeding mostly on deep-sea fish and other squids. Instead of expending a ton of energy chasing prey around, they just wait in the dark. When a target gets close enough, they shoot out those 2 massive specialized feeding tentacles, which, remember, are lined with sharp-toothed suckers, to snatch the prey from a distance and drag it right into their crushing beak.
And finally, FAQ number 4. How many species of giant squid are there? Historically, scientists actually proposed up to 8 different species based on various washed-up fragments they found over the years. However, modern genetic testing conducted in 2013 provided a definitive answer. DNA analysis proved that every single giant squid worldwide belongs to just one species, Architeuthis ducks. They just roam the global oceans as one widespread, remarkably low-diversity family.
Honestly, when you look at the real facts, the ammonium chloride buoyancy, the donut brain, the literal dinner plate eyes, understanding the actual science of the giant squid makes it so much more fascinating than the sailor myths ever were. It's just an incredible, real-world example of how evolution adapts life for the absolute most extreme environments on our planet.
I want to leave you with this thought to ponder today. We have barely, and I mean barely, scratched the surface of deep ocean exploration. If the abyss is perfectly capable of hiding a 43-foot titan with blue blood and 3 hearts for centuries without us knowing, what other massive mysteries are still swimming around down there in the dark just waiting to be discovered? Stay curious, keep exploring, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.